Thank you so much for the positive response to my last video. I hope you'll enjoy mystical concepts like before, because today we're going to be talking about two very controversial mushrooms and the powerful spirits that reside inside of them. This will not be like my usual videos. This will be a wild trip report. I know that some of you will freak out about the mushroom thing, but it's all in good fun. And anyway, I have an obligation towards my mushroom friends. So this will not be a sensational trip through hell or anything like that. This will be wholesome and meaningful. If you only want autism content, I completely understand, and I will be uploading another video like that next time, but I won't spoil what it is. Of course, this experience is so interesting because it happens apart from my autism. It's a supernatural outside voice that has yet to be understood by humanity, and I hope you'll join me in unraveling these strange occurrences that I've experienced, even if you don't believe it like I do. I know that it's made me question perceptions that I've had instilled in me, but you can listen along with a healthy dose of disbelief. This all started when I was 19 with a fascination for psilocybin. But when I discovered Amanita Muscaria, everything changed. I realized and discovered the sentience of these miraculous mushroom beings and how they were kind, helpful, and generous towards humans in a way that cannot be repaid easily. Mushrooms like this have a rich history of spiritual use by humans for various healing practices. Your ancestors probably used Amanita muscaria in particular, because different variations of these healing amanitas have flourished around the world since humanity's inception. Specifically, the Native Americans would gather for sacred ceremonies with other tribes and partake in drinks of Amanita, while socially bonding to drums around a fire. Amanita was one of their sacred medicines that was ritualistically used for thousands of years, and it complemented their divine spiritual practices and served as a means to connect with each other on a more personal, metaphysical level. So first off, what is an Amanita muscaria? What does it look like? Not to be confused with Amanita phalloides, death cap, or Amanita bisphogera, destroying angels, which are both pale white in color and toxic to humans. Amanita muscaria is a signature red color with white warts on its cap. Its iconic colors are unmistakable, and it is non-toxic and safe to touch. Many people take Amanita muscaria to experience psychoactive effects, but in small doses it can be used as a remedy for sleep, anxiety, depression, and pain. I myself have this oil from All Things Amanita that I rub on my abdomen for period pain. Amanita like this is legal in every state in the USA except for Louisiana. But even so, check your local laws. So I've just moved my hair out of the way because it was getting really hot and annoying. And at this point, I will be getting into the actual trip report, where I had personal contact with the Amanita muscaria mushroom spirit. And I think you guys deserve to hear all the juicy details after sitting through, the intro of this video and whatnot. I personally view Amanita as feminine and the psilocybes as more masculine, so my tale will kind of reflect that. Also, there are multiple spirits inside of both of the mushrooms, so I will sometimes refer to them as they or them. When I first met the Amanita spirit, it gave off the impression that it wasn't for the first time. Its form was heavily influenced by the strong sensory processing system that I have, where mental images are super crisp in my mind. And its form was of a person in a yukata with blue hair from a Japanese music video that I had watched earlier. They smiled warmly at me as if they were welcoming me. They were funny and joking too, and the Amanita spirit is very mischievous, so one autistic trait that I have is not being able to look people directly in the eye. And it teased me about that by transforming into a giant eyeball and staring directly at me, which was so funny. And it really shows the true extent of their knowledge when you first meet them about how they know so much about you and your brain structure. And they had these human arms that reached out to me from above, and once you are formally acquainted with the Amanita spirit, you take it on board and it becomes your lifelong spirit guide. Its voice and emotions are always there with you, helping you navigate your life journey and protecting you from harm. But this doesn't happen for everyone. There are a select few people who have the gift of being able to hear the Amanita spirit's voice in their native language, and I was one of those people. I could hear it in the clearest English speaking to me. And I was very doubtful of the Amanita because of anxiety, so I had a lot of fear associated with it at the beginning. But one night I was fearful and everything, like always, and it was emphatic in my ear as if it was being spoken over my shoulder. It said, "I am not malevolent." And I was shocked, and I stood there and processed it, completely bewildered. Another night, I was perusing through an old playlist of depressing songs I used to listen to, and I started to feel very melancholy. And then its voice rung out through the stagnant night. "I help with depression," it told me, earnest and precise. Most amazing was when I actually lost my recorder and they prompted me by telling me to look under my blanket, of all things. And it was such a wonderful gift to have, the communication with these spirits. But unfortunately, my anxiety had a hand in making me lose that valuable closeness with them. One night when I was battling with anxiety while listening to music, the fear encroached upon the inner part of my brain that held the ability to talk with them, and it completely submerged it. And ever since then, I haven't heard a word out of them. Dots of these rainbow light specks appear in my vision whenever they emotionally react to something in my life. And when I go to bed and close my eyes, they sometimes send lightning streaks over the darkness. But most notably, there are these soothing hues of colored waves that lightly ripple across my vision. It appears Amanita has empathy and experiences joy. When I sometimes imagine the mushrooms as humans, and with psilocybin being my personal favorite, honestly, I sometimes imagine and daydream things. And once when I was doing that, I actually hugged the psilocybin spirit that I envisioned tightly, and Amanita really lit up when I did that. When I struggled with anxiety at night and desperately wished for my old self back, Amanita floated above me, radiating sincere kindness that rivals the empathy that most humans have. And Amanita supports all human goodness and equality, like the full spectrum of human rights. And it's a mushroom that honestly loves humans unconditionally for who they are. And I know that I can speak directly to that because both of these mushroom spirits have empowered me. If you want to know more about Amanita in particular, you can visit Amanita Dreamer at amanitadreamer.net. And there is more I could say, but for now we're going to move on to psilocybin. And now, if you want to know more about psilocybin, you can look up Terrence McKenna, who has had many encounters with them. When I met this blue mushroom spirit, it also had human arms that reached out to me in a loving way. And it manifested as a handsome young man in my mirror, also speaking to me in perfect English. And it firstly acknowledged my anxiety and that there were people who wanted to harm me in the way that I feared. And it also complimented me before getting right down to business healing my anxiety. It told me I was pretty and that I had the potential to be even better than my favorite autistic role model, Kenshi Yanazu. Then it reached out its hand and I took it and I joined with its powerful aura. It offered some of its energy to me and I used it to balance out my anxiety to the state that I envisioned. And thanks to the spirit, I was able to heal my intermediate anxiety. But I wouldn't recommend anyone contact the spirit for severe anxiety because that can be dangerous and it can flip the scales in the wrong direction. Because these spirits are seriously powerful, and they presented to me that way in the beginning. But as my own spiritual strength started to dwindle, so did their forms as I perceived them. Now they are more like cute, tiny deities on my shoulder. But make no mistake, these spirits are not to be trifled with. The psilocybin is known as a therapeutic plant medicine that is being studied right now for its potential to heal mental illness. And as a spirit, it repeatedly showed me visions of this hurricane eye of human suffering. And when it showed me that spinning tornado of misery in the distance and me standing far away from it, I knew that I was out of harm's way for good. And it also was able to heal this problem that I had with my eye that threatened to interfere with my sleep. And it was very deeply embedded, and they just handled it like it was nothing. And if you ask the psilocybin for something, it will oblige you. Often I worry about the fate of other humans, especially within the context of the current climate crisis that we are facing. But psilocybin took my hand gently, as if to say, we are too. And I know everyone has this perception of psilocybin, that it's tough on people and that it has a cold and distant personality. But that's only because it wants humans to succeed and be happy. And it works overtime helping people with their traumas because of that reason. And all it wants in return is a loving relationship with humans. And we should be considerate of that. Humans often think that they are the most important and intelligent species on the entire Earth. But that hubris has dearly cost us the rest of the life on this planet. And I realize that humans will not know everything in the universe. And I implore you to reflect similarly. We should aim to be stewards of this Earth and look after all non-human life, and that starts with recognizing that we are not the most important ones here. If humans disappeared overnight, the Earth would flourish, but the same cannot be said of all the other forms of life on this planet. Entire ecosystems hinge on the decomposers that are fungi. The forest is filled with their mycelial networks. They assist many trees and wildlife, not just humans. Without them, we would be nothing. So let's come together in unity to celebrate all non-human life and all the sentient beings we share this planet with. It's our duty to give back to them. I hope you enjoyed this psychedelic tale, rife with unexplainable happenings and mind-bending mysticism. Perhaps humans like us will never know the full extent of what the universe holds, but that's always nice for putting our lives into perspective, isn't it? I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer or somewhere in the middle, be sure to tell me your crazy trip stories in the comment section down below. And as always, thanks for watching.